Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Yeah, I'm not surprised the answers are coming a bit slow. I look different from everybody here. The only person from Africa in this conference, as far as I have observed. My name is Dr. Josiah Kantiyok. I am of JOHAN Vet Network, a stakeholder and member of the Pan-African Network for Laboratory Animal Sciences. The Pan-lase in abbreviation. Pan-lase is a non-profit organization and involved in advocacy, animal welfare, and ethics in research animals. We are an education and training network, and it comprises of about 7 to 13 members who are from Africa, experts from Africa and parts of UK that are focused on working in Africa. I'll start by saying, why am I here? Somebody will say, an African is here talking to Asians. Yes, it was in the African Animal Welfare Conference in Botswana, Gaborone, in 2022 last year, October, that I presented a paper on behalf of Pan-lase on the activities of Pan-lase in Africa. And why I spoke, of course, there were many participants and delegates from Asia, Europe in that meeting. An associate prof from Hong Kong, he was supposed to be here, but I've not seen him. Alan McLeod, I know some of you might know him, stood up during the question and answers and said, wow, he had been in UK, he had practiced in UK and had moved to Hong Kong, and said he had not seen an education or training network working like this. And if you are an organization or a network that is looking forward to be a better network, you want to share whatever you have with people, because people will contribute to see that whatever you are doing gets better. And for those who do not know, you also share with them to encourage them to start something like that. And so there and then we discussed, and I said, okay, fine. Is there any conference taking place in Asia? And he said, there is this conference. Incidentally, it's coming up, and he was supposed to be there. And I said, I'll come up and come and present the paper. So that is why you see me, an African, standing here talking to you. Today, I'm going to talk about our activities. Of course, it's a privilege to be here, to talk on education, I'm trying to get back to the second slide. It seems to be moving between. Okay.
Which one? This one?
The second slide.
Second slide.
Okay, this is the first slide.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is the second slide.
I did not press anything. Hold on, let me fix it for you.
Okay. That's it.
Did this one? No.
This is the first slide. Yeah, that's the second slide. Okay. No, it seems to be going front. It's just moving on its own.
It's moving on its own.
Yeah, I was using it, it was moving up and down. That's why I allowed you to see if you can do it from there.
No.
I'm not touching anything and it's moving.
It's okay. I do it manually.
You said?
I can do it manually.
All
It's
right.
okay.
Number 2.
Go
Slide
back a
number
bit.
2. Slide number 2.
All right.
No, no, team. Yeah. The one with team.
Next slide.
This one.
So it's a privilege and opportunity to be here to speak to you on education. It has moved again. Education and change. Education and engagement bring change. Yes, it's still moving.
I do. Stop here. Okay. Yes.
Okay, let me continue with the printed copies I have here. The topic is Pan-African Network for Laboratory Animal Science and Ethics, Education and Training in Research Animal Sciences, Welfare and Ethics across Africa. Like I said, we're a network of persons involving academicians, consultants from Africa, and 1 or 2 from Europe, working to ensure that animal ethics and animal welfare is entrenched in research animals. You will have known that many places you go to, many conferences you go to, you hear people talking about animal welfare in working animals, animal welfare in farm animals, animal welfare in wild animals. But I don't know how many of you have heard people talking about animal welfare in research animals. It is difficult to talk about research animals because a lot of research has been done, development in the world, especially as it regards drugs, as it regards discovery biology, as regards conservation biology, are carried out using animals. Yes, since 1959, William Russell and Rex Bock gave us a book titled Introduction to Humane Experimental Techniques. Since 1959, but how many organizations, how many institutions, how many research institutes have ethical review committees? How many of these institutions entrench that? And the concept of the human technique borders on 3 things, the 3 R's. The 3 R's have to do with replacement. Replacement means in all we do, recognizing the fact that animals are sentient, whatever research we do, let's look at the first option of not using animals for research. Replacing them with what we have now, like tissues, organs. Thank God now we have beef industries that use tissues or cells to bring up beef. This is what was seen since 1959 and was being advocated by Russell and Rex. The next was reduction. Reduction means if I have to achieve the best results in my research using 1 animal, why should I use 5 animals? I should use the minimum number of animals I need to use to get to the results I want. And it also talks about refinement. Refinement is where you have to reduce all kinds of pain and suffering to the animal. Whatever procedure you do, you must ensure that there is reduction in pain, there is reduction in stress to the animal. These have all been there for us. But how many institutions, how many researchers, how many people have embraced that? That is what Pan-lase seeks to be doing, focused in Africa. We all know that in many low and middle income countries, we hardly have enough educators. Thank God, the person that just presented from RSCPA talked about education and animal welfare. What Pan-lase is doing now is educating all persons involved in the use and care of animals in research to ensure that animal ethics and animal welfare are entrenched. And in doing that, It's okay. And in doing that, Pan-lase came up with the aims of whatever it will be doing. One, it is to address the gap created because of the limited professional educational opportunities in Africa for those involved in the care and use of research animals, which constrains African science. The aim is to share good and humane practice using the 3 R's principle and create the aim is to share good and humane practice using the 3 R's principle and create and deliver sustainable education and lifelong learning opportunities for all those involved in the care and use of animals for research across the African continent in an African-centric way, reflecting the rich cultural, religious, political, and socio-economic diversity across Africa. Establishment of Pan-lase. Pan-lase had a conference. There was a conference of the International Council for Laboratory Animal Sciences in 2015 in South Africa, where this concept with the South African Association of Laboratory Animal Science thought it out that there is a need to start such in Africa. The concept came up in 2015, and then in 2017, in Stellenbosch, in South Africa, Pan-lase was formally formed. And the theme of the conference then in 2017 was One Africa, One was signifying unity among African countries and unity between Africa and the global community in collaboration towards the common good and harmonization of standards. A total of 143 delegates were in that meeting, and the outcome of the conference was the unanimous decision among the partners that individual association institutions and Africa will be empowered through membership of collaborative partnership with expertise and resources and intervention in line with the agreed priorities and objectives. Pan-lase has had since then collaborative work with so many agencies and funders. Having been established, we have carried out a lot of education and training in Africa. So far, we have worked and carried out trainings in about 7 countries in Africa. Some of the institutions that have supported the work of Pan-lase include University of Leeds, United Kingdom Research and Innovation, Higher Education Funding Council of England, Biotechnology and Biological Sciences Research Council. Pan-lase, in collaborating with some of these agencies that have been mentioned, have carried out programs in Kenya, Egypt, Nigeria, Algeria, and South Africa, Tunisia, and Uganda so far. And we carry out these trainings through virtually, sometimes practically, sometimes physically, moving from one country to the other within the 7 countries that we have mentioned. And so far, from low and middle income African countries, the number of persons that have been reached is about 3,635 persons in Africa. From low middle income non-African countries, 25 persons. From high income countries, 82. That means a total of 3,742 persons have been reached. I have a sketch. Yeah, this is the reach. And then this is just a schematic diagram to show places in Africa that has been one way or the other. We have had participants from all the countries, even though most of them will have participated virtually. That's why I said we have concentrated within the last about 6 years since it was formed in 2017 in 7 countries. But most other persons from other countries will have connected virtually when we carry out training and education. That's how a reflection of people that have been used. And if you look at here from the list of groups that are involved in use and care of animals and research animals, we have researchers, we have veterinarians, we have animal welfare and animal welfare organizations. We have ICOC members, that is animal ethics committees members. We have administrators and regulatory and policy making agencies of government and others. That's a reflection, looking at 1,025 participants, that's a reflection of what we have been able to do. We have more researchers coming in. We have about 20% of people that have attended within that 1,025, being veterinarians, and then we have animal welfare organizations, 6%, and then 14% for ICOC members, that's animal ethics committees, administrators 2%, and regulations and policy making bodies 1%. And if you look at the gender distribution, that is what we have for participants. Guidelines. In doing that, you will not start something and not have a process of ensuring that it is sustained. And that is why, since we are working towards ethical review, working towards ensuring animal welfare ethics in research animals, there is need to have ethical committees. In 2017, Pan-lase met in Tunis and came up with a document for the establishment of establishment and functioning of animal ethics committees across Africa. And this document was produced and has well been distributed. Has been published in laboratory animals, and we're working now to see how it will be cascaded down to African countries to be used to ensure that quality ethical review is carried out in institutions in Africa. So far, a lot has been done. We are working towards working with regional bodies like the African Union to ensure that they buy into it and it's taken to the African member countries so that to get the backing of the government, and that will fast track its implementation. And at the same time, we encourage standards being complied with in Africa. In the course of our programs, these are some of the challenges we have experienced or we have seen in Africa, and we are working towards seeing how this will be addressed. We have also seen some positive results from what we have been doing, and those are some of the results that we have seen. Like, we have a lot of trainers that have been trained, because most of what we do is educating the educators. They go back now and continue the programs in their different institutions. We have seen the introduction of robust ethical review processes in institutions in Africa. We have also seen the enhancement of animal welfare and quality of research from African researchers. Indeed, we have seen so many researches from Africa being embraced by high-profile journals. In the past, there are many journals now that do not accept research or theses that have not passed through ethical review. And that is one of the challenges that we've had. A lot of researches are done in Africa, but because most of these do not pass through ethical review, it has always been a problem. Like I mentioned, this is ongoing. The next steps we have is to undertake a scoping exercise of all stakeholders involved in the use and in the care and use of research animals across Africa to ascertain their need. We look at a situation whereby we ask you what you think you need. How far has it gone? And then we do. Not we telling you what we think you should do. And then we'll also look at engaging national and regional animal welfare organizations and professional statutory and regulatory bodies, including the African Union, like I've mentioned. We have also looked at frugal resources and tools and approaches to support research animal sciences in resource-constrained countries. Learning from our experiences, recommendation for others, people who want to embrace whatever we are doing. This is what we have learned. And we are hoping that from this, we'll be able to move forward be able to make more impact, and be able to carry others along. In summarizing and finalizing, I want to say, we want to get your thoughts, we want to get your reflections. Any comments on way forward? Like I mentioned when I started, I said the essence of sharing is to see how we improve, and as well, for others who have not known this, who want to begin with this, we can also collaborate. For those who want to put in something into whatever we're doing, you are welcome. Any potential solutions you think, want to be involved in any aspect? Acknowledgements. We greatly acknowledge all that have been involved in this project across Africa and beyond. Our partners, course participants, institutions, animal welfare organizations, professional regulatory and statutory bodies, non-governmental organizations, and those who have freely given time and resources to it. Thank you. It's coming up. Finally, I did not tell you, I am dressed this way because I'm a monarch and a traditional ruler in my place in Nigeria, who is interested in animal welfare and ethics. Thank you very much for listening. I can entertain questions from you.
Any questions from the floor? One question, sorry. Because we're running late already. One question. Okay, sorry.
And thank you for the very good presentation, and I think it will be very beneficial for Indonesia to start to adapting the model that you have been presented. In some institution, we already have animal ethics, but we see that many institutions in Indonesia don't have that ethical committee yet, and I think it will be a good model to be adapted in Indonesia, and maybe you can share the presentation to us, to me, so we can also learn more about this and talk to the stakeholders on how to develop this. Thank you.
I'll do that. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Josiah. Now it's time for your lunch.
Yeah. Anyone that has a question, you can send me up with me.